Backyard Farmer is a co-production of Nebraska Public Media and Nebraska Extension. Tonight on Backyard Farmer, we'll see how a few pictures can help preserve our prairies and see what's inside a bag of potting soil. That's all coming up next, right here on Backyard Farmer.
Hello and welcome to Backyard Farmer. I'm Kim Todd and I'll be your host for the next hour of answering your gardening questions. We took a week off from taking your phone calls, but our volunteer experts are back tonight. Call them at 1-800-676-5446. We also welcome your pictures and emails for future shows. That address is byf@unl.edu. When you send us an email, make sure you give us as much information as you can, including where you live. And please remember to follow Backyard Farmer during the week for more great gardening tips on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So you guys brought really interesting samples. Kyle, I'm sad about that one.
Yeah, it's a familiar friend. So I have Magnolia scale today. So just a couple right here on this twig. So this is probably the commonest insect problem of magnolias, and their feeding can stunt the plant, and under heavy infestation we can even get branch dieback and plant death even in extreme circumstances. So I brought these because right about now is the time that we're seeing these mature into adults. So they overwinter as nymphs, and so this is a great time to do mechanical control for these if you have them. They're easy to spot now, and these have just matured into adult females. They haven't laid eggs, and so right now is the time that you can get out, kind of scrub them off their soft scales so they can easily be removed from the plant. And then later on this summer, like late August, would be when we get the new crawlers that emerge, and those can be treated with an insecticidal soap or horticultural oil.
All right, thanks, and hope your magnolia does not get them.
Yes.
Okay, Jeff, a grass.
A grass. So this is windmill grass, and you may be seeing it right now. It's the distinctive seed heads are kind of poking up after a few hot days. So it's a warm season grass. Windmill grass, we'll see it really kind of along concrete edges, sidewalks, curbs, that sort of thing. And I know sometimes people get a little disturbed and want to know how to get rid of it. And I kind of say, fescue and bluegrass doesn't do that well in those spots, but windmill grass does. So maybe it just kind of takes that space for you and you don't have to worry about it. So,
Especially if you're in a hot, dry part of the state.
Yeah, right. The only time this really becomes a problem is if you're seeding buffalo grass.
Oh,
and that's
sure.
when it can be kind of an issue. It can kind of overtake the stand of buffalo grass, but it's perennial. It'll come back every year. It'll hold that curb edge for you.
Perfect. You win the prize, Kyle, for the largest sample ever.
Well, I work with the smallest stuff on the show normally, so I wanted to bring something big. This is a yew that was brought to me from Omaha, but there was just a stand that was turning yellow and chlorotic, had branch dieback, got pictures, couldn't figure out what was going on. Eventually said, well, can I take a look at the entire plant, see some of those roots? And as soon as we started looking at the roots, let's see, all of them, well, not all of them, a vast majority are this black, dark color. They're a lot skinnier, thinner than they typically would be. And that is a sign of Phytophthora root rot. And so this was a situation where, plants had a little bit too much water. Phytophthora, one of our water molds came in, attacked the roots, and typically within about 2 to 3 years, this Phytophthora will end up killing a yew or a similar shrub of this size. Now, what can we do about it? Not a ton. Soil drenches can be effective. Something that maybe contains mefenoxam can work, but the biggest, best thing that I recommend is take it out, try to put something else in there that would maybe tolerate it a little bit better. And yes, I do have blue fingers because mermaids are the absolute best. Happy birthday, Clara.
Oh, that's great fun. I was going to comment on those blue fingernails. All right, Scott, you brought beauty as opposed to Kyle's thing.
You're right. It's kind of hard to follow up something. But anyways, this is a pretty yellow. This is our yellow coneflower. It's our true yellow coneflower in the Echinacea genus. It's the only one. Species name's Paradoxa because it's a paradox. It's not yellow. It does really well here. It grows about maybe 4 or 5 foot tall. It's in full flower right now. The only downside is that it can be a flopper. So you might want to co-plant it with something maybe like ironweed or hoary vervain, something that can help keep it upright. Otherwise, it makes a really good cut flower.
And it's beautiful, and it is one of the parents of a lot of those other ones that are different weird colors, like orange. Fun. All right, questions. Let's see. Kyle, you have 2 pictures on this one from Papillion. She says she's used to seeing aphids on her asters, but these insects look different. Are they an aphid or are they eating aphids? They don't want to kill something that is eating the aphids. And they're sooty, what in the world? Sooty mold, whatever.
Yeah, well, it's neither. These are lace bugs, probably chrysanthemum lace bugs. They'll also feed on asters. And yeah, they're doing quite a bit of damage there. So they cause that stippling that looks a lot like spider mite injury, but you'll see those kind of black tar spots, which are their waste. So these can be usually pretty well controlled by just, kind of a solid stream of water. You can knock a lot of those off the plant, and they don't do well. Otherwise, if that's not doing it, insecticidal soap and horticultural oils also will be effective for these.
All right, 2 pictures on the next one as well. So this is a springtail problem. She's fine with them outside, although apparently she has a lot. Now she's killing 50 to 60 a day. This is actually the outdoor environment that she said is kind of wet, and they're doing a French drain. And then she has a picture there of a couple of them, like it looks like a little one and a big one. She was told she should fog her yard. She doesn't really want to do that, so.
Yeah, there's no need to do that. So it seems like they're taking steps to remedy the water issues out there in the yard. I think that's probably the solution to this. It will take time, but modifying that, they live in, they need sort of a wet habitat with that's rich in organic matter. So you just have a large population that I think has built up there in that wet area. So remedying that, I think, will take care of the issue.
Great. And 2 pictures on this one. This was actually in the backyard farmer garden, and he saw this large wasp-like insect on a pine. It looked like it was laying eggs. What is it?
Yeah, this one is really interesting to me. This is a pigeon horntail. So they're basically like a sawfly, closely related, but these wasps, the larvae bore into wood. So this particular species, they normally only attack hardwoods and generally just dying or declining trees. But this one definitely was ovipositing in that pine, so that's really interesting. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, very fun. All right, Jeff, 2 pictures. This comes to us from Garden County. This is his residential lawn. Does he keep watering? Is it going to survive and regrow next year, or should he start over?
I think it's time to start over. So, and we're getting into the heat of the summer, so I think I'd probably delay maybe till August, middle of August, and then you could go in and look at doing some aerating, some overseeding. You might even have to do something a little bit more extensive than that, but I think I'd wait until then to start your seeding.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Excuse me. 2 from Ashland. Large tree removed, and the tree service did a great job, laid down things, but then we have this, and he's really wondering how it's Zoysia.
Right.
How can this be remedied?
Well, I think right now, so for your weekend project, since we had a little bit of rain, you could get an aerator. I would aerate that area, and then I would mix up some sand and some compost, 70-30 on that, and put down no more than 1/2 inch over the area that you've aerated to see if we could level that and kind of rake that and see if we can take some of the ripples out of that. And then, just kind of water it like you normally would, and over time that'll help level that out.
All right, great. 2 pictures from eastern Cass County. She hydroseeded in late April, does have a sprinkler system. Now she's getting the yellow in it and 2 to 6 inches of uneven growth. She's wondering, should she mow it and should she weed and feed?
Sure. Well, I think I'd contact whoever did the hydroseeding just to make sure you don't do something that would be counter to what they've done. But we're probably ready for a fertilizing treatment. So some kind of a starter fertilizer that you can get if the folks that you're working with are not opposed to that. And then, once it gets to about 3 inches, you can start mowing. But I would mow at 3 inches, nothing below that.
All right, thanks, Jeff. 3 pictures, Kyle, from Yankton, Ohio Buckeye, brand new trees last fall. One has yellow spots, and he sent some great pictures.
He really did. So yeah, this is Buckeye rust. It's shaping up to be a very rusty year, it appears. But this is Buckeye rust. Like a lot of our rust, it has 2 different hosts. Here we have the actual the horns on the underside of the leaf that are actually releasing those spores. And then those spores are reinfecting that Buckeye again. And so its alternate host is actually big blue stem and little blue stem. But typically I don't recommend a fungicide on rust, but based on the young age of these trees, it may be beneficial to apply something, a product containing chlorothalonil or copper. Should be somewhat effective just to protect that foliage. Again, these aren't, if it was a mature tree, I would say don't do anything, but since these are young, maybe give them a little bit of something.
All right, 2 pictures on this one. It comes to us from Madison, Wisconsin. This is what you found on her elderberries.
Yeah, and this is elderberry rust. We are super inventive namers. And, and this is, like a lot of our rust, this has another host. The other host for this one is actually sedges.
Wow.
But in this case, the rust on the elderberry is done for the year. And so it forms these galls. The galls produce spores that blow onto the sedges. The sedges get the rust all throughout the summer. What you can do for this elderberry, I would just prune those out if you don't like them. Otherwise, they look really pretty.
All right. So. And 2 from Clarksville, Tennessee.
All
so
over the place.
Something on his beans. What is it?
It's a slime mold.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. Just it was wet and it's taking advantage of sugars.
All right. And you guys love your slime molds.
We do.
All right, Scott, 1 picture on this. He's wondering, is this a mulberry and can it be consumed? And he wants to be able to tell his dad what it is because they watched the show together.
Yes, it is definitely a mulberry. It is edible. Just make sure that you wash the fruit off before you eat it.
All right. 3 from this one. This is Chanhassen, Minnesota, Scott. River birch, no changes in the landscape. 4 trunks. 1 is looking great. The other is not so much. Too dry, too wet, nutrient deficient.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot going on with this tree. You might want to work with a certified arborist, have somebody come out that can walk around the tree, take a good look at it, look for any type of injury. When we see this level of decline, the prognosis is usually not very positive,
Right.
but try to work with the arborist to come up with a solution or action plan.
All right, Scott, 1 from Hemmingford. She has a beautiful honeysuckle vine. It got frozen and droughty. It's not looking great. She's wanting to keep it. Should she just leave it alone for now and let it be? And
Right. The best thing to do is just leave it alone, improve the health care of the plant, maybe mulch it, keep it water during times of drought. But for the most part, just leave it alone.
all right, thank you, Scott. The Nature Conservancy's mission is to preserve plants, animals, and the diversity of life by protecting the lands and waters they need to survive. We're excited to show one of the ways they're following their mission. Photographer Chris Helzer says a picture is indeed worth 1,000 words.
My name's Chris Helzer. I'm the Director of Science and Stewardship here in Nebraska for the Nature Conservancy. I do a lot of things. I'm an ecologist and land manager. In addition to that, I'm a photographer and a writer, both for the Nature Conservancy but also on my own. A lot of times I try to take pictures of insects face to face. What I hope is that if I can show them in a way that they look charming or in any way relatable, it'll sort of change the perspective that people have. And if I can catch their attention with the photo, then I've got the chance to talk about the lives of that species, what it does that's interesting, how it takes care of its kids, or how it migrates, something about it that's going to make it something other than just creepy. One of the great things about the Nature Conservancy is we are an international organization. Our local offices, our local preserves have a lot of opportunities to do what makes sense here. And so in Nebraska, we're working mostly on grasslands and rivers. We have a row crop program that works with farmers on things like irrigation efficiency or nutrient management, cover crops. We have a program that works with ranchers in the sandhills. A lot of my job is to try to capture what we learn from doing land management on prairies, using fire in different ways, using grazing in different ways, seeing how that impacts the plant communities, the wildlife, the production of the land. And then we try to capture those lessons. And a lot of my work is then working with either private landowners or people that work with private landowners and helping to translate some of those things that we've learned into something that farmer or rancher could use. We're not trying to give them a recipe to follow. Instead, we say, here's something we've learned. You may be able to take this and tweak what you're already doing. Small creatures like insects are really important to ecosystems for lots of reasons. They play so many roles. And so when you have a lot of plant species or insect species, it's like having bench strength, meaning that you've always got species that are on the bench ready to step up when they're needed. As insects, as pollinators, that diversity makes a really big difference in terms of the overall function of the system. It's really exciting to see how many people are interested in native plants and putting them in their yards or around campuses in different places. There are lots of reasons that native plants are important in yards, providing food for pollinators and lots of insects. To me, one of the best things about it is that it makes the species that live in prairies accessible. It brings them right into people's backyards. Hopefully they'll go out and look for them in prairies as well. So we're really lucky in Nebraska to have quite a bit of prairie left. Almost half the state is in grassland still. We've got the Nebraska Sandhills, which is our big showpiece in the middle of the state. The Nature Conservancy, who I work for, of course, has land you can visit. But we've got grasslands all over in Nebraska, and a lot of them are publicly accessible. We are known for some of our grasslands internationally. The livestock production we get out of them, the species that we are providing habitat for, it's part of who we are, I think, in Nebraska. I just really want people to think about them, whether it's photography or science or writing, talking about them in any way. I'll do that for as long as I can.
Absolutely gorgeous photography, and we're really grateful for organizations like the Nature Conservancy and that good work that they do. All right, Kyle, 2 from Waverly. Not from Waverly. 3 from Scotts Bluff. So this is what is wrong with this elm. This comes to us from Gary Stone. He sent beautiful pictures here. Yeah, this one, it's pretty impressive. It's European elm scale, and it's pretty loaded. So right now, this can be treated. This is a good time to do a soil drench of a systemic, like imidacloprid. That can be quite effective. Otherwise, later on in the fall, horticultural oil, or fall or spring, you could use a horticultural oil that will help, kind of smother those overwintering scales. And then because they are a softer scale, you can also go out there and just do some mechanical removal to get rid of, kind of scrub off whatever you can reach. With that many scales, I would recommend, utilizing as many different strategies as possible. All right, thanks, Kyle. 2 from Pierce. She thought this was a dirt clod, and then it broke open, and she found little worms. What'd she find? Well, it was a dirt clod with, this is a potter wasp nest, and so they make these little mud pots, and they provision them with caterpillars that they've paralyzed, and they lay an egg in there, and then the larva feeds on those paralyzed caterpillars and becomes a wasp. So they're beneficial. If you see these
hanging around, just leave the nest alone.
All right. And 2 from Nemaha County, sort of by Johnson. So she was mowing in tall grass, and first she said the ants swarmed by the thousands, and then she added some zeros. She said it's millions. They're just doing that?
I don't have an explanation. It's interesting, and I don't know if it was just they were disturbed, and so they swarmed up the nest, or sometimes if they have larvae that are exposed, they'll sort of rush to get those into a protected place. Also, pavement ants are kind of known for having these wars between neighboring colonies. So usually, though, we only find those colonies like around slabs of concrete or pavement or under those sorts of things. So I don't know if that's what was happening here, but yeah, interesting. That's a lot of ants.
Okay, Jeff, 2 pictures. This is a pasture near Valparaiso. What is this plant, and is it toxic to livestock?
Well, I think it's Hypericum, which is St. John's wort, and so yes, it is toxic to livestock. It creates, they become photosensitive, so especially if they have lighter colored spots on them, they can have issues with sunlight. So you can, I would say mow it, treat it with 2,4-D, that sort of thing. I'd also suggest maybe contacting your local extension educator to come out and take a look at it and make sure that there isn't something going on with any of the livestock in the area.
All right, 3 from a farm by Syracuse, wooded area, and she has 2 different things in here. She sprayed, and then she sprayed again, and then she sprayed again, and then she sprayed again, and what does she have?
Well, it looks like she has a couple different things going on. She has a viney weed, looks like woodbine, which is a native viney weed or viney plant. It can be a little aggressive and kind of hard to kill. And then the other one she has is a Guiam, which again is another native plant. Some people like it. You can, it has kind of a not a real showy white flower. So there are some folks that like it. A lot of folks, it turns into a weed for them. So both of those are things that she could use, like a tricloperon, and that would help set those back.
All right, and one picture from Denton, Jeff. She has this vine-like weed in the landscape in a retaining wall. What does she have?
That's a cool bindweed, so one of my favorite weeds. So, and she could use quinclorac on that. There's a lot of different mixes, but I would use a herbicide on that one. Pulling it will do you no good. So.
All right. Kyle, 2 from Clarkson. She's wondering why her cabbage leaves have these beautiful yellow spots and splotches.
Yeah, I wonder that as well, honestly. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's a virus, but it's only the oldest leaves, which make me wonder, did it get cold and we had the cool temperatures, chlorophyll production shuts down at low temperatures, and so that's my suspicion as to what's going on. It doesn't look like it's affecting any of the newer stuff, so it's just it's a cool ornamental cabbage that you have in your garden now.
Patent it.
Yes.
All right, 3 from West Point. This is a lilac that 30 plus years old. They cut it down to 4 feet, good regrowth. All the leaves are variegated. Yeah,
it's cool. Whatever you did, bravo. I don't know. Does not look like a virus because it's all of the leaves and it's so uniform. Some sort of mutation. I asked some people who know a lot more about plants than Scott and Kim. They don't know.
Yeah.
So it's cool though. Bravo.
Okay, and one picture from Murray. What kind of fungi is this? It's either a mulberry or a pear tree, and she's talking about that red one.
Yeah, so I couldn't tell entirely based on the picture. Could be a few things. It could be a raspberry slime mold with that bright red color. The other thing though, if it's not kind of lying flat, if it's more raised, it might actually be one of our cinnabar polypores. And so it's a shelf mushroom that's bright red that just grows and is a decomposer. But pretty.
Fun. All right, Scott, 2 from Waverly. Purslane is taking over the garden, which sounds like it belongs to Jeff, but it's a garden. And they're wondering Should it be a ground cover? Will it rob nutrients? What should he do? Any way to control other than pulling every single plant?
It's not a good traditional ground cover. If you let it flower, it's going to make seeds and you're going to have a bazillion more next year. The best thing that you might do is just put down some wood chip mulch, make a nice walking path into your garden, and then just hand pull as it breaks through. But yeah, it's not a good ground cover.
All right. So Omaha, early girl tomatoes are doing this. How can they correct it?
Yes, this is blossom end rot. It's a calcium deficiency in the tomato. Rarely is calcium deficient in the soil. Keep the soil evenly moist and mulch it if you can.
All right. One from Axtell. She had 52 plants in her garden, every last one curled like this. She did say there's a cornfield about a quarter of a block north.
When all the tomatoes like this have the same symptoms, signs, it is definitely herbicide drift, so not much that you can really do. We really don't recommend eating the tomatoes because we don't know what type of herbicide, and most herbicides are not listed to be used on vegetable gardens. So.
All right, and one more, and this is also a tomato. Hardly any foliage. It was hit by drift, and everything else looks fine.
It definitely does look like herbicide drift again. So if you're watching, you don't have to spray everything. You can dig it out. Terry loves her soil knife for a reason. So try to dig out your weeds before you buy and apply.
All right, thanks, Scott. Well, the heat of summer has already arrived, and that means keeping things well watered in our garden. Here's Terry in the Backyard Farmer Garden to tell us more.
This week in the Backyard Farmer Garden, I'm going to answer a question that I get quite a bit, and it is, how do we water our garden? Well, we're really lucky here. We actually have underground irrigation, but we had it specially designed specifically for our garden. The heads are actually in the pathways. They pop up about, between 10 and 12 inches. They have a spray nozzle that actually releases very large droplets. So even if it's a little windy, it doesn't really go anywhere. We have it start about 5:30 in the morning. So by 9:30, it's completely done. And we have it all set up in zones. So the annuals and the vegetables get watered a little bit more than all the perennials. So that's really how we manage ours. You can do the same thing at home. You can set up sprinklers. You can actually buy some great timers, have it all set up, and actually not have to worrying about watering. So stop by the Backyard Farmer Garden this week to check it out.
Well, if we
Thanks,
take any
Terry.
woodchucks on campus,
It's time
I know
for
who
our
to call.
I'll just fax you the rest. It comes from Patty Stover Boyle in Ponca. Especially hydrangeas. She's provided lots of detail, which we really love. Scott's here to help with this one. She used 5% liquid iron, fertilized with hollytone, watered early before the first freeze. She has hard water and clay soil. So great information, Scott. What's going on with these hydrangeas?
It is chlorosis, and that could be caused by a couple different things, such as waterlogged soil, high pH, and even a micronutrient deficiency. One of the first things that she might want to do is maybe get a soil test, find out where that soil pH might be, and it can also check for any of those micronutrients. And then afterwards, they can amend the soil accordingly, maybe add some soil sulfur to start lowering the pH. And they might want to actually rethink the landscape around the plants, because we have some petunias around them and they like a lot of water. Hydrangeas, they do appreciate some water, but it might be a little bit too much. That could just be making the chlorosis a little bit worse.
All right, and what about that use of hollytone?
Hollytone's not a bad fertilizer, but it does contain the traditional nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and we really don't want to fertilize stressed out plants, so maybe just stick with some soil sulfur.
All right, Scott, that's a great answer, and we hope that helps her. Go to our Facebook page and post a question and picture. You might show up on the show next week. Just add your questions and photos in the comments of one of our posts. It's time for a short break. Coming up, we've got the lightning round, the plant of the week, and weekly weather forecast. We will be right back. Welcome back to Backyard Farmer. Later in the show, Elizabeth shows us what's inside a bag of potting soil. You can still phone in your questions to 1-800-676-5446 or send us pictures and emails to byf@unl.edu. And now it's time for the lightning round. Scott, ready?
I guess so.
Lincoln, there are suckers at the base of a maple. Is there a way to keep them from growing back if he cuts them off?
Yes, there is a product out there called Sucker Stopper or Sucker Punch Cut Paint, and that should help.
All right. From Wymore, she has established asparagus and wonders when it can be moved. And can it be moved? When and can?
That's a good question. They could be challenging to move. You could go ahead and give it a go, but maybe start a new patch for next year.
All right. Is it too late to pinch asters and fall blooming mums?
No, we still have time.
From Westside, Iowa, is it okay to put unwanted sedums into a mulch pile?
Say that one more time.
Is it okay to put unwanted sedum plants into a mulch pile?
Yes, it's going to break down.
All right. This viewer had Annabelle hydrangea knocked over in the rain last night. Cut it, tie it, make it stand up.
Tie it. It will
Cage
be
it
fine.
and tie it, and she'll stand right back up again and smile at you. All right, nice job. Okay, Kyle, ready?
Of course, mermaids are the best, remember?
Sure.
And other weird stuff. But, sorry.
All right, from Fort Calhoun, no matter where she buys her onion sets, the bulbs are rotting from the inside once she harvests them. Is that already in there? What's going on?
Something in the dirt, so I'd try to find a different area to grow your onions.
All right. This viewer has powdery mildew all over her peonies already in
Yeah.
May. Should they be treated?
You can, I wouldn't. It's probably going to start to dry out. If you can, anything that you can do to maybe increase light, so maybe prune some trees, something like that.
All right. In Gothenburg, there were tan spots on the bean leaves. What are those?
Could be all sorts of things: bacterial blight, bacterial spot, anthracnose. Yeah.
Don't eat them. All right. This viewer has a young elm with dark ooze down one side of the trunk. Should they start over or treat that?
I wouldn't do anything about it. It's probably just some slime flux, something like that. It's normal.
All right. Shriveled leaves on New Guinea impatiens. Is that typically disease or environment?
If it's on all of them, it's the environment. If it's only on a couple of the leaves, it's probably disease.
All right. Jeff, ready?
Yes.
From Tarnoff, wants to control broadleaf weeds, especially dandelions, before interseeding. How long should he wait after controlling them?
Well, it would depend on the product that you use. So there's some of the natural products have a low or a short period, and some of the others are going to be much longer.
All right. Will liquid aeration work in a lawn, or should it be plugged in the fall?
I would do plugging in the fall.
All right. From Ralston, is Kentucky Blue good sod?
Kentucky Blue, yes. Bluegrass is good sod. It's more maintenance than fescue, so keep that in mind.
All right. The same viewer, should you use Turf Blue HGT or Turf Blue Pro if you're using Kentucky Blue?
You know, I think either one are good. They're both excellent options. Again, like I said, it's just a little bit higher maintenance than a fescue. That's why I think we tend to recommend fescues.
All right. Cass County acreage, should they mow high 5 inches if it's dry or not mow at all?
Well, 5 inches is really high. I would say maybe 4 inches. And then, you know, I think for any of us, if it's really dry and hot, you know, you don't need to be mowing weekly. So you could go, you know, every couple weeks or once a month.
Great. Okay, Kyle, ready?
Ready?
May 30th, he saw the first fireflies. Is that early?
Yeah, it is a little early.
June 2nd, heard the first cicadas singing. Is that early?
Yes, but not totally outside of a normal range, but a bit early.
All right, from Omaha, her roses were eaten. Should she go ahead and add new soil? It's probably rose sawflies. Should she
Add new soil? No, you don't need to do anything to the soil. If it depends on the species. Some have multiple generations a year, so if you still see them active there, just treat for them now. Otherwise, they are pupating in the soil, but just treat them next year.
All right. He wants to control aphids on his milkweed without harming anything else.
You can use just a spray of water or insecticidal soap, but also they don't really hurt the milkweed.
All right. From Blair, she has phlox plant bug. Can she dig up half the phlox that doesn't have it and move it halfway across the garden and get rid of it?
I don't know if moving phlox is a viable option or not, but I would probably just try to manage that in the fall or winter, get rid of any of the dead phlox so that you're getting rid of those overwintering bugs.
Four-way tie, so I keep it.
That's impressive.
That's pretty impressive, guys. All right. That's really fun. Well, we've got a really great versatile shrub for you this week. Jason Orth from Campbell's Nursery is here to highlight St. John's wort.
Plant of the week this week is going to be St. John's wort. St. John's wort is a native shrub to North America. Great for pollinators, great for our area because it is super tough. We have two different kinds here. We have Hypernicum frondosum and Hypernicum calamintha, which both are great for pollinators. Blooms kind of the end of June, and it will bloom all the way till mid-July, so about a month of blooms. Very unique blooms. Bees love this plant. They will come in droves, and it's great for them. So this frondosum actually does have some really nice fall color, some kind of pinks, some yellows in that. This version is a little bit more evergreen, so it kind of holds its needles through the winter, where this one has a little bit better fall color. The frondosum, Hypernicum frondosum, sunburst St. John's wort is good for dry sites where the cobalt and gold is likes a little bit wetter soils. So in all, these are great shrubs, great native shrubs that will fill your landscape with lots of blooms during summer when the pollinators need them the most. Let's go to Gannon with the weather.
Hey, good evening, everyone. The good news is we have a pretty quiet week ahead of us. We will, however, start off on a warmer note with highs up to 90 degrees on Friday. After this, it should be pretty mellow with highs in the 70s and 80s. Enjoy it while you can because beginning on Wednesday, the heat will return and it'll likely stick around through the end of next week. Hopefully some people got some moisture recently because this week is looking pretty dry. The only real chance of storms is on Saturday down here in the southeastern part of the state. If they do form, they'll likely be severe and have some strong winds. Outside of this, it's pretty quiet and there's a chance of a scattered shower or two. And that's your week of weather forecast. Back to you guys.
Great announcements, the first being Backyard Farmer at Yanni Park in Kearney on Tuesday, June 16th, 4:15. Come see us, 5 p.m. Come listen to us. Then we have Lincoln Garden Club's annual garden tour, Saturday, June 13th. Lots of information on that one on their website. The Monroe Meyer Guild Garden Walk is this weekend on Sunday, June 14th. That's a fabulous one. We've done some segments on that. Then we have Kimmel Orchard and Vineyards Pollinator Week celebrations. Lots going on down there as well. And finally, Tour the Wild Side, which is Saturday, June 20th, which is Wachiska and Spring Creek Prairie. So wonderful opportunities for everybody in the landscape world. All right, let's see. Kyle, 3 pictures here from Underwood, Iowa. He's found 2 of these. He thinks they're the bad guys' jumping worms. Are they or not?
So it can't say for sure because it's a juvenile. So it's lacking the clitellum. We need that to really know for sure from a picture, and that's only found on the adults. I think it's probably not, but I can't say for sure. They could send in a sample to the diagnostic clinic and we could take a look. Otherwise, if you handled it, like if it really thrashed about to the point that it's like jumping, then it's the invasive jumping worm. Otherwise, if it just kind of squirms around, that would be like an earthworm. So,
All right. One from North Lincoln found this friend in a dwarf crabapple. What is it and what will it turn into?
Yeah, this is a hornworm. It turns into a white-lined sphinx moth. So they're really nice moths that are quite pleasant to have in the landscape in evenings. They like to visit flowers in the evening, but yeah, it won't hurt the tree or anything. It's totally fine.
All right. From Omaha, her rose bush has no buds and something is eating holes.
Yeah. So this is a bristly rose slug sawfly. There's 3 different species that we have that do affect roses, and this one is the most problematic because they do have multiple generations throughout the summer. So you can control it just by spraying the plant with sort of a forceful stream of water, or otherwise an insecticidal soap is really effective, but they do like to be on the underside, so make sure you get good coverage on the underside.
All right. And from West Omaha, she got freaked out by this flying pastor. Size of $50. What is it?
Yeah, this one's awesome. This is a waved light fly. They're super cool because they are parasitoids of scarabs, all members of this family. But this in particular, they're parasitoids of like the June bugs or May beetles. So what they do is they'll like glide above them and get them to fly, and then when they're in flight, they're sort of the soft spot on their abdomen is exposed, and they lay an egg inside of that while the beetle is flying, and then the larva basically eats the entire inside and just leaves a hollow shell.
You know, no writer of movies has to ever make anything up.
Yes,
Oh my
pretty
goodness.
cool. Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, 3 pictures on this one. Can we identify this weed? It's been in her garden for several years.
It's looking like quackgrass to me. Yeah, I think with the rhizomes in particular. So I think, especially in a flower bed, I would do that glove of death. Get a cotton glove over a rubber glove and some glyphosate, and just wipe it on there carefully so you don't hurt any of the other plants.
All right, 2 from Murdoch. What is this invasive grass, and how can he control and eliminate?
It looks like they have yellow nut sedge, and they have a pretty good case of it. Sedgehammer is a branded product that works really well for this, and we're in that time zone or that window right now. This is the right time of year to treat that, so I would take advantage of the timing of it and do it soon.
All right, and then 2 from Papillion. Treated with a pre-emerge to kill off crabgrass, killed the patches, and told not to replant, but the crabgrass is back. What does he do so he can retreat in the fall?
Well, depending on what product they used, both quinclorac and mesotrione, you can seed into that, and those work well on crabgrass. So I would take a close look at the product that you used to make sure that it wasn't one of those. If it was, then I think you probably can go ahead and seed into it and use something like that, the meso or the quinclorac again, to treat it while you do your seeding.
All right, thanks, Jeff. 2, Kyle from Omaha. She had a 20-plus-year-old Chicago peace rose. It got rosette. Mm-hmm. And she knows this, and she removed the plant. She did all the stuff, but she's wondering, should she discard the mulch? And the second, she found these nodules on the roots.
Yeah, so I guess first these nodules, since they're in front of me. This is crown gall. So it's caused by, it's a bacteria that kind of tricks the plant into making a growth hormone and just forms those galls. Eventually those galls, they will girdle those roots, and so they're less than ideal, but rose rosette is more damaging to the rose. As far as what to do about the mulch on these roses then. Technically you don't need to remove the mulch. However, anywhere there is rose material, we can have the virus, we can have the urified mite that spreads the virus. So I would do a pretty good cleanup. Again, if you're leaving a few pieces of mulch, that's not gonna be a problem, but you want to get rid of all of that rose material.
All right, 2 from Omaha. This is a linden. Multiple vertical branches, one wilted, then another one wilted. Is this verticillium?
It might be.
Yeah.
It sounds like it. From the picture of the whole tree looks like it. This picture doesn't look a ton like verticillium, but there's certainly some sort of fungal rot going on. It's probably only a matter of time before it takes the rest of the tree.
All right, and 1 from Omaha. This is a maple, sugar maple. It's a good portion of the tree is involved. What's this?
Yeah, I think that this is anthracnose, and so we have those spots that are forming right along the vein. That's where anthracnose tends to hang out. It had been cool, it had been wet, but it's still wet. But those cooler temperatures that we had a couple of weeks ago, that certainly kind of made anthracnose kind of flare back up again.
All right, Scott, 1, and this one is, what is going on with this dwarf Alberta spruce?
It's reverting.
Right.
It's a reversion. The original dwarf Alberta spruce was a mutation, and they cultivate it, and sometimes we get environmental stress, and the plant will revert, cut it out, or else you're going to have a odd-looking tree.
2 from the Omaha Millard area. This popped up in the flower garden. Is this a friend or a foe?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
We need more information.
Yeah.
I'm usually really good with obscure plants, and this I'm drawing a blank. It might be obedient plant, but if it's spreading like this, you just might want to pull it out or let them flower and send us more information.
Great, and then 2 pictures on this one. It's a vine-like weed in the landscape in the retaining wall, and she thinks it killed the lilac.
No.
Okay.
Bindweed is aggressive, but it's not that aggressive. It's probably more of the planting site or planting the area, but no, the bindweed didn't.
All right, excellent. Well, if you got your containers going a few weeks ago, they should be bursting with growth no matter what you planted. If not, you might need to look at the potting soil you used. Elizabeth tells us the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to potting soil.
There's so many options at the garden center when it comes to potting mix. There's additives and fertilizers and water-soluble crystals that help to hold on to moisture. Do you really need to buy all the state-of-the-art potting mix, or can we pick something that's maybe middle of the road or a little bit more cost-effective? That's the better question. When we're selecting potting mixes, especially for containers, we want to avoid using regular garden soil. Garden soil is the one thing we do not recommend. It doesn't drain well, it compacts, so that's why we really don't recommend garden soil. When it comes to potting mix, you pretty much get what you pay for. If you add the fertilizers and the water crystals and things like that, you're gonna pay more for that. But do we absolutely need to have those additives? And the answer is no. Select a potting mix that's in the middle of the road. It's gonna have perlite, that's gonna be the white stuff. Some of them are gonna have shredded bark or peat moss to help hold moisture and allow it to drain. Some of them are gonna have vermiculite, which is that shiny stuff. So shoot for middle of the road, more cost effective, avoid all the bells and whistles, and make sure that your potting mix really drains well.
You don't have to spend a lot of money for cool sounding ingredients. Just make sure it drains well and it's not just soil you took out of your lawn. All right, Kyle, 1 from Westside, Iowa, found this spider on a very shriveled leaf. What is it?
So can't identify it. It's the cast skin. So like when they molt, they shed their skin, and so can't say more than that.
All right. In other words, it's dead.
Well, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we have 1 picture from Norfolk. What is this tiny little guy? She's got her fingernail in there so we can see how little.
This is a geometrid moth. It's a thin-line chloroclamus.
So fun. Beautiful little thing.
Yeah.
All right. And from 9 miles south of Holdridge on the next one, He's seen these tiny insects by the thousands. What are they, and are they just a nuisance?
Probably. It's hard to say, but it looks like it's a leafhopper. And they're not uncommon in turf, but if, sometimes when the populations build up, they could become damaging. In that case, something like carbaryl or acephate could be used to control, but it's rarely needed.
All right, thank you so much. Jeff, this is from Lincoln. How do you get rid of Chinese elm growing between your drive and your foundation? Last year she thought it was pesky weeds. This year the weeds are back. It's funny, she said she got lost in the rabbit hole of, good Lord, do anything but that thing you were just about to do to get rid of the Chinese elm. And she pulls them up, she's on a seek and destroy. She doesn't really want to poison her entire environment to get rid of Siberian elm.
Sure. I think really it's either you pull them up, you dig them up, or you can cut and treat. And so you can get a product, you just use your pruners, cut it back and treat this little stump. That might be the simplest thing.
And watch for more seedlings.
Right.
All right, one picture here. This is from Bennett. Is this poison ivy? More of a sawtooth, but apparently the description of fuzzy stems came with poison ivy from some source.
And they might, but I think this is more of a raspberry or something like that has kind of volunteered in. So based on where it's located, that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like poison ivy.
All right, and one from this one. Can we tell what this is? He pulled it out without knowing, and then he thought, oops, leaves of 3.
Oh my gosh, not that.
Leaves of 3.
Yeah, so it's mock strawberry, so I don't think that they have anything to worry about, so yeah.
All right. Kyle, 2 from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She called these eggs in her squash plants.
Yep.
Are they eggs?
They are. Those are witches' eggs. It's it's a type of stinkhorn. And a lot of times we'll find stinkhorn eggs kind of down in the soil profile, but there are types of stinkhorns that will leave the eggs kind of right up on the soil surface. They'll start to crack, and then you'll have a nice stinkhorn that emerges, probably.
All right.
I'm not an expert on South Carolinian mushrooms, I'll be honest.
But they are mushrooms.
Yes.
All right, from Minden, 2 pictures. What is this fungus and how can they treat it? It appeared out of nowhere.
It's a slime mold, so I would not do anything, not a true fungus. I would just watch it, maybe make a path for it to follow, do something cool like that. Once it dries out, those spores will just turn to dust and it'll blow away.
All right, and 2 from Lincoln. This appeared about a month ago on a pin oak stump. The rain last week turned it into this.
Yeah, plants are cool, but the stuff that grows on them is even cooler, I think. These are dead man's fingers, and so a xylaria, a very common type of decomposer. Eventually, those kind of white things will turn nice and black, and kind of just look like fingers erupting out of the stump.
Okay, she's a recent immigrant, Scott, from Kansas to Omaha, new flower beds. Mums, she's really good at it. She pinched off all the flowers, but they're setting buds again. Should she pinch them off again?
It's going to be up to her. You could go ahead and pitch them back if you would like to, but sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times when we plant our perennials the first year, their bloom cycle is wonky, and they will flower when they want to. You could pinch them back, but I would not do it a 3rd time. A second would be okay, but plants will do what they want to do.
Okay. One picture on this one, his amaranth self-seeded. He thinned them. This year he wants to know, can he bind them together and will they still flower as normal? So it's like a colorful backdrop.
They are really colorful. They are aggressive self-seeders, so please be aware of that. You could try that binding to see what happens, but you might invite more problems because you're going to get poor air circulation and you could get powdery mildew, anything that Kyle might find fascinating, but you could give a couple a try and see what happens.
All right, and you have 2 pictures that are the same thing. One is from Hamburg, Iowa, and the other is from Kennesaw. clematis that are half this color and half the other color, and they still flower. And we have this one every year. And what do we say?
It definitely could be a virus. I believe there's a tomato mosaic virus that could affect clematis. Send us a sample so we can find out exactly for you.
Well, and if it was that tomato spotted wilt virus that we see on clematis, we wouldn't expect for that entire leaf to be yellow. Instead, it would be more of a kind of speckled yellow spots on the leaf. But yeah, with it just being all yellow, that's strange.
It's like that lilac that
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
did its thing.
Yeah, bravo, you did something cool. So.
Oh, yeah, every single year on that exactly one. And that's going to do it for tonight's Backyard Farmer. Thanks so much for everybody who submitted a question and to our panel for another great show. Helping us on the phones were Master Gardeners Carol Rustad, Linda Helton, and Nebraska Extension Educator Terry James. Next time on Backyard Farmer, we'll be out of the studio in another great location, Yanni Park in Kearney. We can't wait to get out there, and we hope to see you as well. So good night, good gardening. We'll see you all next week, right here on Backyard Farmer.